The Phoenix Suns just had one of the most disappointing losses in NBA playoff history. Their Game 7 loss was so bad, I thought TNT had the wrong score. It was so bad, I suddenly started feeling good about the Sixers again. I was like, hey, at least we didn't stink this bad. That loss was so bad, not only does this add to a long list of playoff disappointments in CP3's career, but when we look back 20, 30 years from now on Devin Booker's career, we will look to this game as the defining moment in his career. But before we get into what the Suns need to do in the offseason, thank you all for even being here. I appreciate you. One person in particular I appreciate is Madison Hain. I owe a shout out to you, bro. You a real OG, one of my first subscribers. So everybody be like Matt, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, leave a like, say hi to Madison in the comments section, whatever you got to do. All right, let's get into it. There is no amount of basketball analysis that can explain this collapse. You can point to how the Suns stopped running their Spain pick and roll sets. You can say, Chris Paul's hamstring started giving out again. You could say, oh, Luka was just that great. Look, Luka is great. He's probably a top 5 player in the league right now, but he shouldn't be getting as many points as your entire team at the half. So I mentioned Devin Booker's career because now more than ever, I'm really starting to appreciate just that mentality that all great players seem to have. When the pressure's on, when things aren't going your way, what are you made of? Think about the finals last year. Giannis closed out with a 50-point game to secure the title. That wasn't by design. That's not just from being more naturally skilled than your opposition. That's just mental toughness and sheer willpower. To me, Devin Booker, he's a fringe superstar player, but I won't be comfortable giving him that label until he can prove he can do it at the highest level and when the pressure is on. The pressure wasn't even fully settled in yet. It was just the first quarter, and the Suns got punched in the mouth one time, and they couldn't seem to recover from it. Like what Luka said, it's real easy to talk when you're up. Devin Booker talks a lot of trash, y'all. The Suns, as a group, they do a lot of shenanigans with all the handshakes, all the dances. That was out of the window midway through the first quarter. Matter of fact, the game was pretty much decided halfway through the second quarter. And for the number 1 seed on your home court, you owe it to yourself to at least put up a fight. And what did they do? They put up their worst game all season. The Suns were actually getting pretty good shots too, but I don't know if it was the pressure that got to them or if it was Luka's trash talking, but they weren't hitting those shots, and it wasn't just one of those games. I don't buy that. But you know what? Let's be solution-oriented. Where do the Suns go from here? Things are about to get very, very expensive. Robert Sarver has to make some tough financial decisions because the Suns can decide to go into the luxury tax to keep their players, and you're going to do that for a second-round exit team? First things first is you got to pay Devin Booker the Supermax contract. I know he just came up small, and I just had that whole thing just now about being a defining moment in his career and how he came up small. But you know what? The Suns owe Devin Booker this money for surrounding him with trash for the first 5 years of his career. Second, that killer mentality that I was mentioning, it's not always something you're just naturally born with. It can still be learned. Think about when LeBron choked in the finals and he had, 8 points in game 4. And from that moment, he had to learn to be a more complete competitor and leader. And to this day, he marks that series as the turning point in his career. And it just so happens that it also happened against the Dallas Mavericks. So that's Devin Booker. On to Chris Paul. You got to do something, Suns. My first idea would be for Phoenix to upgrade Cameron Payne to a bigger guard who can play, make, and shoot. Because going forward, the Suns cannot rely on 37-year-old man to carry them in a playoff game. And if he starts getting singled out on defense like he was getting exposed against the Mavericks, you need to have another option where there won't be any real fall off. And you won't have to rely on Devin Booker to be your main playmaker. So think of Kyle Lowry on the Heat and how he has Gabe Vincent who can step right into that starting role in his absence. So that would be my course of action for CP3. I still trust his leadership. Maybe if he can mentor a young guard for a season, then he can eventually take his place in the rotation and CP3 can start to go out gracefully on his terms. Maybe get traded eventually, but not for now. Chris Paul did lead the league in assists, so he still has a lot of good basketball left in him. Just don't expect to be any better than this year. Now, the last big piece of this puzzle is Deandre Ayton. Right now, it seems like Suns management is desperately trying to not hit the panic button, but I'm going to tell you right now, go ahead and push it, bro. There was a reason Ayton's contract extension couldn't get worked out for them last time. I don't know what it is, but this is not the time to try and correct that decision. If I were in an NBA front office for the Suns, I would be extremely hesitant to sign a center who isn't an MVP level player like Jokic or Embiid, nor is he really close for that matter. I mean, he wasn't even consideration for an All-Star game. He's not a three-point shooter like Karl Anthony Towns. He's not even like a defensive specialist such as Rudy Gobert. Someone's going to give Ayton max dollars, and I just don't think it should be the Suns. He's just a very much a jack of all trades, master of none type of player, which isn't even necessarily a bad thing. But if you look at this man's stats over the first 4 years in the league, he hasn't shown any significant improvement in any area of the game. And lastly, if a dude shows you this kind of play and this level of effort in his contract year, where he knows he needs to actually ball out to maximize his dollars, to me, that's just 3 red flags and 3 reasons why I need to explore trading DeAndre Ayton, probably in a sign-and trade. Is there a reality where they trade DA for AD? Anthony Davis? I mean, he has his health problems. Lakers are looking to get younger, and since the Suns would probably have to throw in at least a few first-round picks, plus a guy like Cam Johnson or Bridges, and probably another bench player, that kind of helps with the Lakers' depth, their youth, and their future post-LeBron. And the Suns get the best player in the deal, so I don't know. This might be onto something here. Seems to make sense for both sides to me, at least at first glance, especially since the Lakers are probably stuck with Russell Westbrook. But look, y'all, these are just my opinions. Let me know what you think the Suns should do in the offseason. Is it time to push the panic button, or should they try and run it back next year? Let me know in the comments. Say what up to Madison for me. I'm replying to everything, so please leave a like, drop your NBA offseason hot takes, and I'll see you all on the next one.